Hello everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome to part 3 of Build the Moebius 15-inch Proteus from the movie Fantastic Voyage, along with the crow's nest version of the same model, Protei as we like to call them. And we're building them simultaneously, and we have been for the last 2 parts of this. If you're just tuning in and you have no clue what's going on, I beg you to go back and watch part 1. It'll really clear things up. For the rest of you, welcome back. And this is the final episode. We will be finishing these kits and showing them off in all their glory in this episode. These kits have come together very well. Let's dive in. No pun intended. Okay, so when last we spoketh, I had I was getting ready to look at that. That's nice. Just noticed a little smudge on it. I've got 3 beautiful finished coats of my Duplicolor Arctic White on this, and I still have a nick. What can you do? Okay. So what I am doing is I'm going to be installing my dome. Here that is, and it's all put together. And we'll take a look at this close up. And spotlessly clean, my lovely dome is. All the lights are in, and the 805 is in, along with the photo etch with a wire that I've now put on an umbilical cord. And well, you'd like to see that here with a plug. And the reason why that has a plug in it is because I intend to permanently install this along with my glass. Now I've got my underneath piece. This is the piece it's sort of the front glass is sandwiched by the front and this rear piece here. Here it is, and this is going to sit on the underneath side of the ship, and the glass sits in that. And of course we're going to also be using the Aztec dummy gasket masks. It's black vinyl that we're going to permanently install on here. We've also got masks to cover our windows for when we do our final clear coat after we have put our decals on. So it's really a godsend to have the masks, because can you tape all of this up? Absolutely, but why bother when you can have a really good set of masks? And I promise you, with the amount of tape that you can end up using, you're actually better off using the vinyl masks. And I'm not paid to say that. I just believe in them, and I think it's a great product. Okay, so what we have to do now is, well, there's a couple of things we have to do. We're going to have to get this front glass in. We're going to permanently install this bubble. And what we're going to do is we've set it up in such a way here that you can see that it sits on here absolutely perfectly. We'll permanently install that and glue that down, because we're then going to have to run our wire along here and down the side, and it is going to hook up with the bottom of the tub, which is sitting over on the back bench. There it is. And oh my goodness, I have unfortunately revealed the star of the show, the miniaturization base for the crow's nest version of this, and it's got all the bells and whistles, so we'll be getting into all the details on that. But I wanted to show you the bottom of the bottom of the Proteus, the large Proteus, because we're going to have to be running power into it, and we're going to be putting this on a Randy Cooper base. We're going to be talking about how I'm going to be doing that and how I'm going to get this thing powered up. But in order to start permanently getting everything set down, I've got some gluage I have to do, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to probably use I would say probably some microcrystal clear on here, just to make sure. I do have another version of it. Testers makes this, I'm sure you've used this before. Testers makes this. I find this to be a little messier to use. Be interested to hear what you guys think. There is also, if you're super careful, you can use your clear grip. Here's this. If you wanted to use that, you could certainly use that. If you're careful with it, you could also use some of your resin, your light curing resin. You could do that as well. Plenty of options. The point is, this has to get glued down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to attach this wire to the back, as we discussed, and that will go to the umbilical cord, and then we will make a life-changing decision on drilling a hole to get power up into the underneath of the base, because ladies and germs, all my wiring is ready to go underneath here. And here is my plug for my umbilical cord. So here's a quick lighting test to show you everything is all plugged in. Everything you can see on the in the tub, the front console. I talked about the light that was under the dash. That's going to really give me some boost. I've got for the lab. I've got for the main sub area. So I think I've got plenty of light. I'm washed in light, and of course, don't forget my chart light box is also lit, and of course over here is the light for the dome, looking really spiffy. So everything is good to go. Okay, we're going to put the masks on that are the gaskets for the front window, and these masks are supplied in your Aztec dummy pack for this kit, and it's AD 47. It's the 1/32 scale Proteus pack that you're asking for, and you can get those from Steve at Cult TV, man. And what he's asking us to do is to line these up so that they are sort of centered. And he gives you very detailed instructions on how to do this, and I'm doing this on camera, so God help me. But if you can get it to grab one side and your knife cooperates, then you're in pretty good shape. But the idea is that the black shows through the windows and you get these masks. And so what I wanted to do is just sort of show you what this looks like when they're laid down like this. And when you apply the well, this actually it's gonna lay on top of this like this. So let me show you what this looks like once these are applied. So your window piece goes on, your interior frame goes on first, and then this lays down on top of it, and that sandwiches your window, and you get this wonderful masking effect. And I'm going to be able to show you that very clearly here. And now obviously I've not lined these up inside, but you can see that it adds that lovely black dimension, and it's absolutely perfect. And those create the gaskets, and that's in your Aztec dummy pack. Well worth it. Well worth it. So that's what we're doing. Now if you wanted to, you could use the Randy Cooper kit if you've already got it. Now there's a lot of you out there who get your third-party stuff, you put it all together and you go, one day I'm gonna build that, and 5 years from now you'll still have it. So you can hold on to this and remind yourself that if you did get the Randy Cooper aftermarket kit, he gives you this. And now these are resin and they've got to be cleaned up, but they have this wonderful edging here, and you can paint that black, and that becomes your gasket. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be using Lou's gaskets, not because he's a friend, but just for this particular build. That's the way I'm going, because I want to use everything that I said I was going to use. I'm going to hold on to this because I've got one more of these, and that one I most likely won't be doing surgery to the butt. But hey, I just want to sort of share with you everything that is out there and available to you, and it's a good piece of kit. Randy Cooper does great work. Okay, so there you go. That's what I'm doing. And I'm going to continue to get my masks on, and then we will install that window, because once we've installed that window and we've put our dome in and that's permanent, then we can go ahead and also install our top hatch, which is a yellow hatch, and then work on our umbilical, and that takes care of the top. What I've got here is I've got the 15-inch Moebius on its clear stand. I haven't painted it black yet. And I believe the stand is actually black in the movie. I'm going to go back and check that. It's not clear, so we'll get that up. But what I'm trying to do is sort of determine how this is going to look in the frame. It's a big model, and it takes up every part, everything. It takes up, pretty much this entire circle is like 17 inches, 16, 17 inches, as opposed to the crow's nest version. And we'll be looking at the miniaturization of base, beautiful base, files of which will be available to you. You'll be able to build it, and we'll talk about that. But right now, what I've got to do is figure out where I'm going down. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this. If you wanted to remove this base, I should say the ship from the base for any reason, that would require some kind of a pin that you would just simply plug in. You could also do contacts. I could also put some copper tape on here, so that when it sits on here and it touches positive and negative, it lights it. But the sort of the conventional way to do this would be to put an umbilical cord in here, go straight down into the underneath portion of the base, and run that. So those are your choices. But what I wanted to do is show you really quickly what I've done. I've added SMD strip lighting to the lower portion of this. I've got two versions of Randy's base, so I don't want to confuse you. I want to make it absolutely clear. You don't get this as a kit. You get one piece and one piece only that you just sit your model on, and I think that's more than sufficient. But for the purposes of what I'm doing, I thought it might be fun to try and mimic the system that Tenor Controls is offering for the 12-inch. It sort of gave me inspiration to do that. So let me turn this on so that you can have a look at this. It just adds a little bit of interest to this, really. I think makes a huge difference. I mean, it's really quite dramatic. If we look at it from overhead, you can see it really makes a difference. And I like that you can see the SMD lights. It looks like something is actually happening under there, so that's sort of fun. And all of the hard lines inside of here, I'm going to put some black wash in to really define them. And there is supposed to be in the center here a red center. So we can do all of that if we choose to. But that's basically how this would look. So what I have to do now is I have to make some serious decisions. but it's got lovely mood to it, as you can see, and I think it really evokes something. So I'm glad I asked him to build this for me in the clear resin. So if you do want to order this, I will give you contact information for Randy, and you email him, and he's very good about getting back to you, and see if he will make you a clear version of this. Now, obviously, if you're in the continental US, it's reasonable. But if we're talking about anybody in the UK, it could be a chunk of change to ship it to you. I don't know. That's between you and Randy. But anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment here to see how I can best hook this up, because the what's interesting is that the kit itself, if I go through, if I drill through one of these, which I certainly could, and attach this to this base, which I certainly could, then what I'm probably going to end up with is a little bit of a plug here and a plug here, and I plug them in and I set it down, and that's where it'll live. Doing a little work on the figures while I'm waiting for things to dry. I've got the windows in on the large Proteus as well as the small Proteus, and I am also in the process of getting the large Proteus, the 15-inch base, ready to go. We put our SMD strip lights in there. We've got the clear resin top on, and that's drying right now. Then there'll be a black strip that goes around there to clean it up, and it'll be powered by a 12-volt wall wart. So that's all going well. Just getting these figures painted. Now, I could have gone with a set of figures that are available on eBay for this kit that I probably would have been a little more souped up than these are. These are the Jimmy Flintstone version. Not terrific, but not terrible either. For me, it was kind of, do I want to set this aside and wait, or do I want to keep going? And I just decided I didn't want to wait. Don't you be as impatient as I am. If you also have to make decisions for yourself. You may already have the Jimmy Flintstone figures, by the way, and they're perfectly fine. So I don't want to suggest, I'm just being a little more critical, I suppose, than I should be. But just my opinion. So there you go. So this is supposed to be Donald Pleasance's character, and in person it looks a little more like Nosferatu than anything else. But hey, he'll be fine. They're looking pretty decent. I don't know if I can get close-ups for you. We'll fly him in on his side. There he is. I can't flip him up at the moment, but trust me. And I've got Raquel Walsh's character also that I'm just putting flesh tones on just the first coat, and then we'll go back. We'll get the hair on the characters, and of course our Stephen Boyd. Thank you for pointing out to me that it's Stephen Boyd and not Michael Boyd. But hey, what can I tell you? Okay, so I'm going to continue to just work on these figures, because they need to be seated before I can do my final close-up. And then we've got a few things. We've got our snorkel that needs to go in, and our hatches, our yellow hatches need to go on. And then I've also got to work on the thrusters. I am using the Randy Cooper aftermarket thrusters that come in the kit, the aftermarket kit for this particular build, only because they don't have any seam lines on them. They're solid, and that's gonna just make it look a lot cleaner. seam lines where you have ridges are really tough to clean up. So whenever you can avoid those, at least whenever I can, I certainly will. Look at this base. Isn't this fantastic? I am really happy with this base. I just think that we got a really terrific effect. Our dome lights are on. Our chart table lights are on. The lab is well lit, and hard to tell because of camera exposure here. Let me get a little more light on the subject for you. But I assure you, in person, we're doing really well. Couldn't be happier with the result. And of course, we've got our magnetic top, but I think I'm going to leave it displayed like this so that you can enjoy the lab and enjoy the front. All my dials are lit up. Everything is lit up the way it should be. And the other thing that I'm really happy with is the way we're going to get backlight. We're going to get some really nice backlight off this dome. I'm going to try and capture all of this when I do beauty shots at the end. But just to quickly recap what we've got here, the 15-inch is permanently attached to the two stand pieces that come with the kit. I've not permanently attached it to the miniaturization base, but I have attached it permanently to the ship. That gives you stability and it gives you level, and it's how it was really seen in the film when we first see it. It is on that it's on that sort of stand. It's not on legs. You don't see it on legs until it's actually inside the human body, which is curious, but that's the way they make. That was their production design. But everything is now. Nothing is nailed down. The top is not sealed yet. I don't have my fins on, my rear fin, my tail fin, and it's going to need a gloss coat so that I can get all my decals on. But I will only gloss coat the areas where I need to. I'm not going to have to do the rest of it. Although I would say a semi-gloss on this, I think will be a good thing. So there you go. I am really super happy with this. Everything came together really well. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of show you where we were. I've got a lot of details to put in here. And I am still working on the interior a little more. I've got a little camera that needs to go inside here underneath the glass. And of course, I've got my my thruster nozzles for the rear here that have to go on, and I'm just going to make sure that everything is seated correctly, or will seat correctly. It looks like I might have just a minor issue here. I'm noticing just with the way this this console here. Let me show you. This console here might be sticking out too far for this to sit flush. I don't know. I don't think it is, but I just got to make sure that everything is where it needs to be, and that we don't have anything that is forcing this to not grab. But I'll check that. But look at that. Look at the drama of that. I mean, that's movie quality. I'm very happy with that. That is an absolute result, and you can get the same result. It's just simply the acrylic base that Randy Cooper offered. Well, correction. I apologize. Not an acrylic. It's resin. It's resin. He offers it in a solid white, but he poured it in clear for me. Not cheap, by the way, because it's expensive. But boy, is it well worth it. I think you get a tremendous amount of drama out of this. Now, the other thing you could do, and when we switch over to the crow's nest version and we look at that build up, and we're going to look at it on its miniaturization base, which is pretty awesome, that lighting kit could work no problems with this this. You're just going to have to do a little scratch building depending on how much how far you want to go. Do you want the miniaturization canopy? What do you want? Sky's the limit, really. But it would definitely work with that, and so that's exciting. Okay, quick pop in here, because if you're building this and you've gone to great lengths the way I did to make sure I had good fit, there's some interesting things that happen. Once this pilot's chair is down, the ring here is very fragile. Now, it's designed to be attached directly to the chair. But it has a little bit of spring in it, as you can see, so it should be okay. However, when you put your bubble down over it, if it's not perfectly centered, or you've done what we have done, which is light this, so you've got this little bit of wire. Let me get this into frame here. Okay, there. You've got this little bit of wire here, and that is, it's doing a little bit of a trick. I think perhaps what I would have done going forward is, if I was to do this again, I probably would pre-install the loop, the control loop, into the top of the dome, so I knew that it could just sit down, and because you don't see that bar at the back, even with in the back of the dome, you really can't see it. The other thing I'm going to do is, with these control fins that are at the side here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim these off. I'll still have a stub to be able to push in here. But the reason why is because when you sit the top over the bottom and you line it up, you've got quite a bit of a seam here, and I want that to go away. And so the only way for me to have that go away perfectly is to be able to fix that seam and fill that seam before this fin goes on, which means this locking key isn't going to work for me. So I'm going to remove it, and then I will permanently glue these in place, because I don't play with my models as toys, and I don't personally get a kick out of the fact that the fins move. Just don't care. Some of you will, and that's okay, and I'm not knocking it. If your fins move, I think that's awesome. I just don't want to see that seam, because it's something it's on full display. Even though it's technically slightly hidden behind these fins, I don't want it there, so I'm going to remove it. Okay, so I'm about ready now to permanently close this up. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do a piece at a time with some 5-minute epoxy, and I'm just going to clamp the hell out of this. And then when that's all sealed up, I'm going to be able to put my masks on to protect my windows, tape up my dome, and give this a nice coat of semi-gloss. Okay, the one thing I'm going to do right now before I permanently seal this up is make triple sure that I've not shorted anything, or anything is untoward. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this plugged in right now, like that, and I'm going to go ahead and sort of figure out how I'm going to do this. There's plenty of room to push this wire down into the cavity like that, and then I'm going to drop this over here as close as as close as I can. That's pretty darn close. And then I'm going to use my wall wart, and I'm going to plug it in, and hopefully this will come to life. That looks really good. I could not be happier. I think this is really turning out well. Okay, I'm back on the crow's nest version, and there's some really fantastic examples of how highly detailed Drew's kit was and what he thought about. On the Moebius version, the intake grates, the water intake grates for the thruster engines on the front are plastic. They're molded plastic. Now you could certainly clean that up with some metal. You could even, I think the scale would be right, is for screen door mesh, which I keep. You could certainly clean that up and make that screen door mesh. It would be a lot thinner and probably the detail would be a lot greater. I didn't do that, but I wanted to show you this because this is what comes with Drew's kit with the, and you know, it just adds, it's metal of course, and it just adds another level of detail that I think really made this kit shine. So I'm just going to drop these into place. They go in quite nicely like that, and then we'll just I'll show you what that looks like there. It's a lovely detail. And so I'm going to just go ahead and just touch those with a little bit of my extra thin, and we'll do the tops. We've got a piece cut for the top and the bottom on both sides, and they fit beautifully. So that's a nice detail. I just wanted to share that with you because I think it's important to not only celebrate the man himself, but also to point out some of these wonderful details. Okay, I'm going to continue working on the crow's nest version now. I've got my bubble here, and that's all been trimmed up and ready to go, and that's going to sit like that. And then of course our pilot in his chair has already been installed, so I will go ahead and get ready to glue this down, and that's just another added detail to this wonderful kit. The 15-inch is on the other bench. Let me show you it. It's all clamped up. So here it is, and it's all clamped up. It went together quite beautifully. It's got some 5 minute. It's 5 minute epoxy, I should say. So that's all setting up. So we're going to get this close to that, and we'll be almost caught up. So I see light at the end of this tunnel. Okay, back on the 15-inch Moebius Proteus, and things have been permanently sealed. So now I've just got some cleaning up to do. I've got this pesky joint that just needs a little gap filling, but that won't be an issue. I'm glad I was able to clean that up. So I'll get that all cleaned up. I have permanently installed my base stands because in the film that's the way you see it when it's on its miniaturization base. It's on these black stands. It's not on its I guess tripod legs, for lack of a better word. So that's the way we're doing it. The magnet is looking good, and so that just that pops off to reveal our lab, which is here-ish. So that's good. I'm very happy. There's a lot of lab to see there. So, but I'm probably going to display it in this configuration, not in this configuration. I'll probably just leave this on the stand somewhere. I don't know, on the base somewhere, I should say. But that went together very well. What I've got to do now is I've got to add the thrusters, the Randy Cooper thrusters, the aftermarket thrusters. I like these because they don't have any seams on them. Here are the thrusters, and these are the aftermarket thrusters from Randy Cooper, and there's 2 of those, and they've got to go on. My fins are here, they're going to go on. And I've, as you can see, let me show you in this position. My plug is here, and that connects to my power port. I found that to be the simplest way to do this, so that's how I chose to do it. But I have to tell you, in dramatic lighting, this thing looks really cool. You know, it's a great looking 60s sci-fi sub. So I'm going to now get my thrusters painted up, leveled off and sanded and put on, and then I'm going to clean up all of my seams. I've got my snorkel to put on, and I've got the cylindrical handle for the hatch to go on. And then this will be ready for a coat of a clear coat, a satin coat. I'm going to use a satin coat for decals. And then as soon as my mini version, the crow's nest version, is done drying, I closed that up. That's drying. We'll get these side by side and see what we've got to do just to sort of clean them up and finish them and get the decals on them. And then we'll be ready to really talk bases, and that's exciting. Okay, getting ready to put some finishing touches on the crow's nest version. We've done pretty good. Everything is down. I've got just one of these round locking rings that's got to go on the top hatch. I've got my side fins that have to go on, and my rear dorsal fin has to go on. Or is it a well, you know, yeah, it's a dorsal fin. That's what it is. For up and down motion. So we're going to we're going to install that right here. And I think what I might do, I'm going to look at this. I might put just a little bit of drill, a little bit of wire on each side here. Let me get my fat fingers out of the way, just to add a little bit of detail to that and some realism. We'll see. Not sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get the last few touches of this done, and then she'll be ready for decals. And I'm putting a coat of clear on. Well, I have put a coat of clear on the big beast. Here's them is, and that's just drying. So this will be ready for decals too. So maybe we'll do like a simultaneous decal party. Because then we really want to get to the meat of all of this, which is the display stands, how we're going to display these. And I'm pretty excited about sharing with you the 2 options that we have. And I've just heard from my friend Brian, and I'll give you some information that apparently there may be a couple of these crow's nest kits left. That's right, there may be a couple available. So I'll let you know all about that in the close, and all the details that I have on everything that we did here and used here. It'll all be in the description. Some of it will be in the video itself, but all of it will be in the description, I promise you. So I'm going to go ahead and get these details on, and we'll get ready for a decal party. What about that? Well, I promised a decal party, and that's what we're going to have. The only reason is there's not a lot of decals. So placement is very clear thanks to the Moebius directions that show you exactly where they go. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on either side of the window casing at the top, we're going to put the call up numbers for it. United States Navy, it's U91035, and then Expedition or Experimental Oceanographic or Expedition Oceanographic, whatever you want to call it, goes under there. And then just under this lip here, you've got propulsion intake, and then in red you've got keep clear. So why don't we kick this off by getting some decals down. Now, of course, in classic fashion, no, it's all good. So we're gonna get this in. I've got my little warm bath here of water. And these are all pre-cut, so the nice thing about these is, or thems is, as we like to say, is that they are very simple to put down, as opposed to, of course, our crow's nest ones, which are, a little cruder. It's just on a piece of on a piece of clear decal film. But interestingly enough, they are relatively in scale for some bizarre reason with the Moebius. So if you did have an issue with your decals, you could make a PDF of them. But I always recommend making a PDF. When you got complicated old decals, make a PDF of them and then reprint them. You're better off. Okay, so let us lay these down. First one to go on will be our call numbers, and very simple, and that's just going to go right under the crease here, just under the crease, like that. And of course, there it is. You can see it here. You couldn't see it, but that goes down. That went down quite nicely, and then under it is the next one, and that goes under it, and then we can just put that into place, like that, and then just dab that down, and we can put a little bit of clear coat over that if we want to. And then underneath goes propulsion intake and keep clear. So we'll do all of them. We'll do all of them on the 15, and then of course I'm going to go and put these down on the crow's nest version. But I wanted to at least get one side in. Why not? Let's see, let me just tip this up just a little bit, and I could put something under this so that it stays there for me. Thank you very much. Okay, propulsion intake goes on first, and that's going to go just about here, and there we go. And our red keep clear goes under that, and it looks as though it is not centered. It's lined up left, like visage. All right. So let me just tip that to you so you can see. Decals are on. Decals, decals, decals. They're on. How about that? And that, ladies and germs, is our decal party. I'm going to go ahead and put the others on. It's a mirror image of everything, right? And then we're going to clean up this bench, and we're going to go into detail about the crow's nest miniaturization base. Oh yeah, I've been hyping this for what, 3 weeks? So don't roll your eyes. It's coming up right now. And of course, I've got a sort of a watered down version of that using the Randy Cooper 17-inch resin poured base, and we'll talk about that as well. And we'll get these. We'll get our 15-inch lit up in all of its glory. We'll get beauty shots. We'll have some closing remarks, and please stick around for a little brief shout out to Drew Huffman, and just a little memorial here from Spruverse to say thank you to the great Drew Huffman. Okay, here we go. I'll be back in a flash. So here is the finished crow's nest version of the Proteus on its miniaturization base. And this is a absolutely stunning way to present your model. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I do believe a couple of these particular kits are still available, and I'll give you information about that in the description below this video. You might be able to get yourself one. Well worth it. It's a beautiful detailed kit, and of course it was the inspiration for the Moebius version. Let's fire up the miniaturization base and take a look at it going through its motions, which is really cool. And then we'll get into how it's made and how you can get your own. Okay, so let's take a look.
Phase one. Phase one.
How cool is that? Okay, so the nitty gritty. Let's start from the very top here, so that you can get the full picture of what we've got. So this the display base, the lighting, and the sound effects design were all developed by Doug Korp, Brian Wieblinger, and Bob Brackhoffen. And a big special thanks they give to Ralph Teneglia over at Tenor Controls for his lighting and his sound card fabrication. Now, this, as I mentioned, are 3D files. They're 3D files, and this is basically what you get. Now, let me explain to you that this is, these files are probably best printed in PLA, not in resin. They're not set up for resin. Could you sort of do some of your own design and cut into this and do some things? Absolutely. You could even possibly scratch build some of these elements, like the upper portion of the of this, which looks, by the way, incredibly similar, if you notice, incredibly similar to the engine array on the Jupiter 2. It's very interesting. So this has light in it, and then there is a base here. Now, what you get in these files, because I want to be absolutely clear to you, when you get these files, this is what you're going to be able to print. Okay, you're going to be able to print everything here. What you do not get, now, the files are very reasonable, and I'll give you the website where you can get them and download them. But what you do not get is the sound and the lights. That's a separate item. You do not get the kit. That is a separate item. And you do not get the base, this base cover. You'll get the ring, but you will not get the base cover, the clear acrylic. The teeth aren't working. Now, when Drew was alive, you were able to get this piece here, which is silk screened. Okay? You were also able to get this underlay, which is something I can give you a contact for somebody who can print that for you, and I'll have that information in the description below. And you used to be able to get this piece here, which is also I believe it's a laser cut piece. So you're not going to get those with the files, unfortunately. But I'm going to give you some contact information on who to reach out to, and that's Brian. And he might be able to help you with sourcing some of these things. Now, the underbase, I put mine on an acrylic circle that I got, a 12-inch acrylic circle that I got on Amazon for $6. So they're out there. So you can definitely put this together. It's not super complicated to figure it out. And for those of you who have Drew's version and want to go full tilt on this, I think it's well worth it. Now, let me talk a little bit about the light and sound card, because that's available from Tenor Controls. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to reach out to Ralph over at Tenor Controls. Go to his website. I'll give you all that information in the description below this show. And you're going to request this is all capital letters, FNTSTUP-A. I'll say it again. It's FNTSTUP-A. And he will provide you with the lighting kit, with the soundboard, and the step down for your 12-volt SMD strips that you're going to need to put in the base here. Now, he supplies all of that in the kit. You'll get the boards. You'll get the LEDs that you need, and you'll get the SMD strip, because that's what it is. It's a strip for the top and strips for the bottom, and all you'll need is you'll need a if you want to go with, and I highly recommend you do, is go with a wall wart. You'll need to get yourself. And you can get them on Amazon. Just a regular plug for your wall wart. And I'll tell you what I've used here so that you can chase it down. That does not come with this kit, but you'll get all the other elements, including this wonderful little There's a couple of wonderful little details. One is under here, and I'll show you a photograph of this right here. Check this out. This is the underneath side of this, and it's a red jewel, and that can be printed in red too. You can print it in clear, and you can paint it, or if you have the ability to print it in red, you can certainly do that as well. But it is absolutely. I think it really outshines itself, and there's no question to me when you look at and I'll put in a production still here. Check this out. You can see that this is awfully close, if not right on. So what an incredible way to display your crow's nest miniature. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Phil, I have the Moebius version. What if I want to put my Moebius version on this base? Well, look, you can, you could, but it's a little out of scale. In my estimation, it's I haven't put my fin in yet, so don't panic. In my estimation, it's a little out of scale, but here it is on the base. Let's fire it up with this one on the base, and you might say, no, I'm happy with that.
Phase 1. Phase 1.
So you can see that it absolutely does work. It absolutely does work. It's going to go through its motions. It absolutely does work with this setup. And of course, you then get the whole proscenium. Now, if you wanted to try to go for something like this, you could get the files, or you could mimic this this armature, and you could scratch build this top array if you wanted to. But now I'm going to show you the Randy Cooper base, which I think is a little more in proportion for the Moebius version. So let's get that. Let's get that. If I could talk, we could do this. Let's get that set up. Here is the Moebius version, finished and sitting quite proudly on its Randy Cooper base. This is sort of how I'm choosing to present mine. Now, this is all of the bells and whistles in it, and I'll get some beauty shots of the interior of this so you don't miss anything. But wow, you can see at this scale, it's quite a difference. Quite a difference to have it on its perch, and have it be on a perch that is, I think, a little more in scale and a little more, keeping with what's going on. Now, if you go to Randy's website, you will see this in solid resin. He doesn't showcase it in clear resin. Don't know if he'll build you one in clear. He poured one for me. They're not cheap, but he can do it, and I'll give you all that information as well, so how you can reach out to Randy and see. And you might be able to do this yourself. But what I've done is I've just run a little umbilical through and underneath the ship, and that's what's plugging it in. But it's all removable in case I want to take it to a show, or move it around. But wow, am I absolutely thrilled with this. I couldn't be happier. Just couldn't be happier. Of course, we can showcase, if I turn this to camera here, we can showcase the cutaway here by just simply removing this magnetic door here, which I'm doing. And let me just remove the door. And of course, that reveals all of the interior here. Now it's lit beautifully. I'm going to put this flashlight on just for camera here, and you can see that the lab in all of its glory. But I can assure you, in person, as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing everything I want to see in the lab. It's quite well lit, and I'm going to show you some beauty pictures so that you can see all of it in all of its glory. Okay, so that will conclude the double header, the building of the Moebius kit, and of course the crow's nest kit, and our miniaturization base, which is I think a perfect accompaniment for the crow's nest model. If you have it, you should seriously consider it, and I'll, as I said, show you how to get those files. And of course, if you want to light this, now I didn't do this, but you could do this. You could actually get Ralph's lighting and sound kit for your 15-inch Moebius, and it would run this. And this would fire up and turn on and turn. And in fact, I may seriously consider doing that because it's just too good not to. So so there you go. What I would like to do now is I would like to do, if you would indulge me, but I would like to do a little tribute to Drew. Before I wrap up this episode. So I'd like to do that right now. Well, thank you for indulging me and giving me a chance just to share some photos of Drew, kindly given to me and with permission to use from his dear wife. And I send lots of blessings and love out to her and the Huffman family, and thanking everybody for allowing me to bring this to you. I really greatly appreciate it. It makes me feel so good to know that we have this incredible community, and when we lose one of our own, it hurts, because each and every one of them and each and every one of you are really what makes this work. You know, this community is very special to me, and I know it is to all of you. So hey, if you want to get a hold of me, I am spruverse@gmail.com, and as you know, I post most days my In the Weeds Instagram photos. That's where you can check out what I'm doing and what's on the bench on a daily basis. Hey, buy me a cup of coffee. That link is in my channel page. That's where I use the money mostly for charitable builds that I do 1 or 2 a year. And of course, even if you just want to say, hey, great job, I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, and as always, I wish all of you, please be safe, be well, build something, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Be well.